Recently, a bout between Robert Whittaker and Dricus du Plessis took place at UFC 290. Many expected an easy win for the Australian, but to the surprise of many, Dricus won by knockout in the second round. After that, he moved up to the top of the middleweight rankings and is currently the main challenger for the title. Hello fighters! World of MMA channel with you. In today's video I will give a prediction for the title fight between Israel Adesanya and Dricus du Plessis. But before the video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like it so you don't miss the next videos. Here we go. Adesanya has a crazy amount of experience. 80 fights in kickboxing, several fights in boxing, and that's just in the pros. And also 23 victories in mixed martial arts, 12 of them in UFC. And often together with the victory and a bonus of 50,000. Israel is the most versatile and technical puncher, perhaps even in the history of MMA. And before the fight with Romero, which was boring, he took the title in a brutal manner from Whittaker, who, in turn, spent 10 bright rounds against the same Cuban. And then Israel knocked out the undefeated Paulo Costa in a one-sided fight. After which he attempted to become a double champion. In March 2021, Adesanya accepted Jan Blachowicz' offer and moved up to light heavyweight to take the title from the Polish fighter. It came out unsuccessfully, but Adesanya steadfastly accepted that disappointing defeat and decided to return to his home division for a rematch with Martin Vettori. The Italian is essentially the only one who has been able to compete with Israel in the middleweight division during his time in the UFC. Although there was still a war with Gastelum, but the way Adesanya spent the final round says that Kelvin was good, but lost by decision. Out of the top 10 rankings, he beat everyone who deserved a title shot, and Vettori and Whittaker twice. It was Robert, Israel who fought last February. The fight came out close but the belt stayed with Adesanya. He later beat Cannonier without any problems. This was followed by 2 fights against Alex Pereira. In the first fight, dominated the entire fight and in the end missed a punch and lost by TKO. And in the second fight he took his own, knocking out the Brazilian already in the second round. Dricus du Plessis, some call him the luckiest fighter ever. Prior to signing to the UFC, he was a champion in organizations such as the EFC and KSW. After 3 wins in the UFC, he is given former belt challenger Darren Till, who Dricus defeats by rear naked choke. He then meets dangerous opponent Derek Brunson. After a powerful 2 rounds, Derek's corner throws in the white towel and the fight ends in favor of the South African representative. Dricus then takes a challenger fight against top Robert Whittaker and sensationally wins by knockout. Let's start with the striking technique of Israel Adesanya. He is the best in this aspect in his division, and one of the best in the UFC. His kicks and jabs and hooks terrorize every opponent. Due to his tall stature, he keeps his opponents at a distance and breaks them up. He also has knockout power that has knocked out Whittaker, Costa and Pereira. Adesanya has defeated all the tops in his division thanks to his style. Now let's talk about Dricus' striking technique. Du Plessis hasn't been in the UFC that long, but he has established himself as a knockout fighter. He mainly works with a series of punches and every punch he throws does damage to his opponent. Let's take his last fight against Whittaker. After the first round it looked like the Aussie was in control. But after a missed jab, he falls to the canvas. Then he gets up, but Dricus takes him down with a series of punches that hit the target. So every fighter should be wary of his punching power. If we go to the definition of the favorite, here I think Adesanya will be better. He has beaten many top fighters in his division and has made great achievements in kickboxing. Let's start with Dricus du Plessis this time. The African has been practicing judo. He has a lot of sub-match victories to his credit. He especially likes to use the guillotine. In the UFC, he choked out Darren Till. Also, in his last fight against Whittaker, he took a shot near the end of the first round and controlled on the canvas. Now let's move on to the Adesanya wrestling. Israel is progressing in this aspect with each fight. In fights against wrestlers, he He does a great job of defending against takedowns. But in the puncher's fight against Pereira, he was moving the Brazilian to the canvas by himself and controlling from the top. If we determine the favorite, I think Dricus will have a slight advantage due to his physicality and number of submissions. I think Adesanya will win by unanimous decision. He's got the distance to beat Dricus and won't let him make the transfer. Also, Du Plessis is unlikely to get a knockout of Israel. What do you guys think? Write your opinions in the comments. Bye, everybody.